effective yet.
What's that?
The current House leadership.
What do you mean by effective?
I mean,
What do you
getting
mean?
legislation passed that makes sense, that has a chance of getting through the Senate, maybe even working on deals that would get approved by the president.
Oh, we
that-
had a
budget deal,
we
sure,
figured a way to
yeah.
fund the government for the remainder of fiscal year
right.
2011. Didn't
Yeah.
shut the government
So
down.
your answer is yes.
Yeah, I think we're going in the right
I'm trying to
direction.
get
Yeah.
you to say anything you don't believe, so.
No, yeah,
All right.
I think we're going in the right direction for sure.
So what's that proposal that you alluded to a minute ago?
No, well, I don't want to bring it out here, but we're working on some
Oh, I
stuff
see.
right now. So,
Okay.
and that's because my concern is if they're not going to do it, I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself to make my own effort.
Have you finished with healthcare?
Sure.
One of the things that's forefront in many people's minds right now, including me, who just drove across the state, is gasoline prices.
Yeah.
What is the House leadership doing to help consumers who are paying $4 a gallon?
So yeah, we just passed a bill where we are looking to access American energy sources in the Gulf, in the Atlantic, Pacific, and up in Alaska. And I think there's a couple things going on. I think we have a supply and demand issue, and as whenever we're going to start to see our economy recover, I think we're going to see gas prices go along with it because there's going to be greater demand. And as we try to move towards energy independence and alternative energy sources, we're not there yet. We still use gas and oil. We still use coal. So why don't we access American energy? Like, I mean, the president goes down and says it's okay to drill off of Brazil. Well, why can't we drill here in America? It's projected it could be 1.2 million jobs, American jobs, accessing American energy. So I think supply is one issue, and then we keep those dollars here instead of sending them over to the Middle East. But I think we also see prices going up because of what we're doing with the dollar. We're going through quantitative easing 2, QE2 right now, where the government is printing basically money to buy $600 billion in U.S. bonds. We're devaluing the dollar, and oil is traded in dollars. And so if we devalue the dollar to end consumers, prices go up. So I think there's a twofold approach here that's going on, and I think the dollar has an impact, but so does supply.
Nothing about demand?
Well, I think
we increase
sure.
supply of American-created energy. Even the best estimate is that those energy sources, if you started drilling in Anwar and other places, wouldn't come online for 15 or 20 years.
Well, I haven't seen it that long. 5 years. I've heard estimates.
Okay.
But yeah.
What about reducing demand immediately?
Let me answer the supply side, then I'll go to the demand side too.
Okay.
I think if you look at even trouble in the Middle East, we might not even have supplies cut off, but the projection that they may will tweak the markets, and you'll see them react. Mm-hmm. I think if we say we're going to pursue American energy sources, that will have an impact on the markets as well. That we're going to pursue those, and they'll see supply coming online in the future, which can have a positive impact on the price we pay at the pump. I also believe, yes, we should encourage conservation as well. We should encourage people to use less. I think I mentioned this to Rod the last time we did this. I drive a diesel TDI. I get over 40 miles to the gallon. I drive a lot, travel in the district. I'm trying to do my part to use less. I think we want to encourage everyone to be responsible in how much they're using, and that can affect the demand side of things as well.
And how do we
keep
do
prices
that?
down. I think we encourage people. I think just by the nature that people are paying $4 a gallon right now, people take a step back and go, okay, well, maybe that big SUV isn't really right for my family. Maybe I could find a vehicle that is more energy efficient when it's costing me $100 to fill, $100 or more to fill up this vehicle. That hits my budget pretty hard.
Kind of not working though, because the 2 of the top 3 cars sold in the first 3 months of this year were pickup trucks.
But when you saw the prices go up several years ago, you saw a transition from the bigger vehicles to smaller, more fuel-efficient vehicles. So it does take some time. But yeah, I think you'll see people. Go there. But I also think we have to have attractive options as well. I did say I like my vehicle, it works well for me, but if you have good options out there of energy efficient vehicles that people want to buy, that's a positive thing. Do I want to see government mandate though, that you have to drive a vehicle that gets 40 miles to the gallon? I don't want to see us do that. I don't think that's where we go. I think markets will drive that in and of itself.
Another pretty predominant school of thought among economists is that speculation in the petroleum markets has done more to drive up costs than Middle East turmoil or the weak dollar or anything else. Is there anything that the federal government should be doing to better regulate speculation of energy commodities?
Yeah, I don't know that I buy into the speculation aspect. If I saw compelling information that speculators were doing that, I would join in. I haven't seen that compelling point made yet, but obviously I could look a little deeper and be persuaded on that point. I'm not persuaded at this time as I sit at the table, but yeah, I would take another look at that. But yeah, I know the president has talked about speculation. I think the driving costs are the two that I referenced, though.
I'm sorry to backtrack just a little bit here, but you can clarify for me. The budget plan developed by Congressman Ryan. It's my impression is that some folks have backed off of supporting that within the Republican Party. Is that true, or it's hard to know what's coming at
That's a very good question, and I heard news reports of that too, hearing that some even leadership was backing off, and so I went because I come back every week. I'm only there for 4 days and 3 nights. I got back and I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
And the response that I got was, listen, the media has taken a few things out of context and trying to run with it. From all I've heard from the GOP leadership is they're all on board. And I got to tell you, I think all of us who voted for it are on board. I mean, we're taking, to vote to reform Medicare, you sure better think there's a problem if you're going to take that vote. I wouldn't have taken it if I didn't think we have to reform it to save it. And so I feel very comfortable with the vote that I took. I will go do coffees with your congressmen in town halls and talk about it because I think it's the right thing to do. And I think it's important to be honest with constituents and say, this is where it's at. These are the numbers. So in the House side, I don't think that that's the case. I think everyone is.
Maybe some of it is with the presidential stuff starting up here, and I mean Newt Gingrich the other day came out, and he's not. Well, whatever, maybe. But he did comment on that and sort of backed off what appeared to be some previous support and backed away from that. So.
I think. Well, if I was to speculate on what Newt was doing, I don't like to speculate, but I think he's trying to play to the. I don't know what he's trying to do. Play to the middle.
Gotcha.
But
sure.
I feel that I took the right vote on that.
Right.
I can tell you, I have a choice. I can say, I'm going to come and tell everyone what they want to hear. I'm going to come and go, I know you want to hear that we can still spend, we can still borrow, that there's no consequence for it. And people might like to hear that from me, but I wouldn't be honest with them then at that point. And I think at this point in American history, when every man, woman, and child owes $45,000 of national debt, I think if people understood the trajectory of our debt, they would be outraged. They would go, let's get it under control. And I don't know that everyone has been paying attention quite yet. But if you sat down and said, let's talk about what it is, they would demand answers from Congress. And so I'm gonna work my heart out to help educate people on where we're at and do the right thing. And if everyone says we don't want to hear it and we want to fire you, I can sleep well at night because I'm doing the right thing, telling people where we're at.
So going in, and it was a fascinating year last year with this whole wave going in and new folks kind of going in, excuse me, kind of guns a-blazing, we're going to go in and we're going to make a difference and deal with some spending issues, and we've kind of touched on some of those.
Yeah.
So it's 5 months out. You mentioned the continuing resolution, and there were 6.2 million. Is it good enough? Do you feel at this point like, well, that's about what we could expect. You know, there was a number that the Republicans wanted more out of
Yeah.
there. Are you happy with kind of where that landed?
No, I would have liked more, yeah. And at some point, I'm new to this. I was a prosecutor before, but you come to realize we don't control everything. It's a divided government. And so we pushed for as much as I think we could get, at least in the CR, which was 38, 39 billion. And we look forward to the 2012 budget where we're cutting 6.2 trillion. But I got to tell you, I believe that the American people, as they find out more about where we're at. I mean, just to take a step back to, I mean, you're all aware that we had our debt not downgraded, but it went from stable to negative. It was AAA now. It's foreseeable in our near future that the American debt could be downgraded. That's scary. And I think when people hear that, they'll go, what? The American debt is going to be downgraded? We're in serious times. And so, have we gone far enough in the CR? I don't think we did, but I wasn't willing to shut the government down at that point. We got something. We look forward to 2012 and hopefully a frank conversation with the Senate and the President to get some real spending cuts, as well as when we jump into the debt ceiling debate.
So there's the Medicare stuff. That's obviously, it's a lot to that, and I appreciate that discussion. When you went into office, I know we asked you, and everybody else did too. Okay, what are you gonna cut? What is it you're gonna? And I think kind of the response, and I can understand, is, hey, I need to get there and see, you know, get the lay of the land and figure out. So you've had that opportunity a bit. I guess sort of. So looking ahead now, are there some areas that you feel from what you've learned